cannot give you back your homes or restore your dead to life. But perhaps I can give you justice in the name of our king.
Hey everyone, today I pulled some interesting questions off of our channel and I want to go through them real quick. These questions are a free-for-all from different seasons, so if there's anything you are not caught up with and you want to stay away from spoilers, this is your notice. Okay, let's get into it. First question is, wouldn't Jon Snow be able to set his sword on fire like Beric Dondarrion did in the fight against the Hound in the books? Wouldn't that make his sword into Lightbringer? Okay, so Lightbringer is the legendary flaming sword of Azor Ahai. It was a sword that had magical properties and only became forged after Azor Ahai killed his wife. Needless to say, there are a lot of theories based on where Lightbringer is now and if we know it by a different name. I have a video on that if you'd like to check it out. Anyways, many people believe Jon Snow will be Azor Ahai reborn. Melisandre is starting to think that, as well as a lot of viewers. So if Jon sets his sword on fire like Beric Dondarrion, will that make it Lightbringer? No. Followers of the Lord of Light like to set swords on fire and draw it from flames. As per the prophecy, Stannis does this and it's starting to look less and less likely that he is Azor Ahai, especially in the show, since we are pretty accepting that Brienne killed him. But how would Lightbringer be brought into the picture, and how will it be on fire? Well, without getting into what sword it could possibly be, I would expect that Lightbringer will appear partway in the final battle. Whether it's a sword like Longclaw or something else, Jon may actually lose it in battle for a second and then go to grab it to duel an enemy and suddenly it's flaming or something like that. That would be an epic transition showing that he is being transformed into Azor Ahai. Now, I'm not saying Azor Ahai is for sure Jon Snow. I'm just using an example of how I would like to see Lightbringer be introduced. Whatever makes the sword catch on fire, I can assume it won't be from someone doing it on purpose. Next question is, if the ice dragons are real, then whose side will they be on? So, ice dragons are a fan favorite in the world of Ice and Fire. Way before the book series, George R.R. Martin wrote a children's book called The Ice Dragon. He has stated that it's not set in the same world as Game of Thrones, but many hope it secretly is. Now, ice dragons are a legend in the known world too, specifically north of Essos, in the Shivering Sea, where countless reports of ice dragon sightings have been made from sailors on the ocean. So if they were real, whose side would they be on? Well, if the ice dragons in the Shivering Sea are somehow connected to the ice dragon in the children's book, I would assume they would be on the human side rather than the White Walkers. But since it has already been stated that these two universes do not coincide with one another, I would expect them to be on the dead side. And here's why. First of all, they are dragons of ice, fueled by winter, just like the White Walkers are. That seems obvious enough, right? And I also think because of this, how would they battle the dead army if their breath would just add to the White Walker's tool of destruction? Also, we already have 3 huge fire-breathing dragons. If we added even just one ice dragon to the mix on the living side, wouldn't it be too much overkill at that point? And you have to know by now, they would not make the final battle of the story a huge landslide victory. It just wouldn't be realistic. Let me know what you guys think about which side ice dragons would be on. This has been a question I've pondered a bit. Do you think if Bran enters the wall again, its power will die? I've been thinking ever since the Night King touched Bran's arm, which led to the White Walker army gaining entrance to the Bloodraven's cave, that this was plausible for the wall too. Of course, Benjen Stark made a quick comment before leaving Bran and Mira just north of the wall. He said, the wall isn't just stone and ice, but it was also built with magic. This makes me think we will see something about the magical properties of the wall, most likely when the wall comes down, but I do not think the second Bran passes into Castle Black, the wall will completely fall, or allow White Walkers to breach the barrier. Why? Because the Horn of Winter is still in play, the legendary, maybe even mythical horn that wakes giants and is even claimed to bring the wall down. A huge scene where you see the Night King or someone else blow a horn and we can see the wall start cracking until it becomes an avalanche, I think would just be awesome. To piggyback on that last question, I've heard about the theory that an ice dragon is residing in the wall, and when the wall falls, the ice dragon will unleash its fury on the living as well as Dany's 3 fire breathers, making it a more fair fight. I think this would be the ultimate scene. However, with cutting out ghosts so much last season because of CGI costs, I doubt they would go this deep into the lore. Next question is, can you do a segment on why the girl that plays Sansa dyed her hair Targaryen blonde? I have read about 4 different show-related theories. A couple of them do make a little sense. Okay, so Sophie Turner apparently has natural blonde hair and dyes it red for the show. If you go back to the earlier seasons, you can see her hair color was more subtle than it is now in the show. Same thing with Tyrion. Sophie Turner has had a huge year, not only with Game of Thrones but also with other big acting roles. She, as well as the rest of the cast, are constantly filming different shows and movies and probably have little time for rest and relaxation. My guess is the show would not have her walk around with a new hair color that is intended for her character in the upcoming season, giving away plot lines and potentially confirming theories. We are too aware already that they pride themselves on not leaking future storylines. I bet that she wanted to get rid of the red hair, if even for a month before she goes back to filming for season 7. Also, she could always decide to wear a wig like Emilia Clarke does for her character. Okay, these last 2 questions I included because they are always brought up in the comments. Your Game of Thrones theme. This song is called Game of Thrones, and it is by Rameses B. This guy has been a pleasure working with thus far, and he has tons of mixes in his portfolio. Check the description for his info. If you check his other stuff out, let him know I sent you. And finally, what inspired you to choose a Harpy as your icon? I chose the last Harpy because I have always been fascinated with theories, whether in film or in real life. I like to take my thinking to another level by examining clues and evidence to see if something other than what is widely accepted as truth can be proven different entirely. This is part of the reason I fell in love with A Song of Ice and Fire and Game of Thrones the show. I have never read or watched a series that lends a hand to so many theories and lore. It honestly just blows my mind. The Harpy in Greek mythology takes on a different approach than the Sons of the Harpy does in Game of Thrones. I like the idea that we may never know who leads the Sons of the Harpy. Some of the best crime cases in history are the ones that remain unsolved. And since my passion is digging into theories and lore, I felt a Harpy would be a nice symbol to represent the channel. Okay, I think that's going to wrap it up for today. Let me know what you'd like to talk about next, and feel free to leave a like if this was entertaining for you. Have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow.